The Movie Preview Critic. Informing and entertaining your movie world.
This is what's happening lately in all movies that have a potential to be trilogies or sequels. Is that cool elements, interesting parts of the story, potential conflict is being held back to be saved for another film, because if it was all to happen now, all the good stuff would be used up. All the bullets would be fired, so by the time a second movie came around, filmmakers would have to use imagination and ingenuity to think of the next step instead of, oh, we've already thought of these things, why don't we cut this in half, save this half of the ideas for the second film, and really stretch out this first film, make it kind of boring, and pepper it with these interesting ideas. That way, we, the audience, feel like we're being used, and they know that we're going to go see the next Predators movie because this one ends with, now let's find a way to get off this planet. And I think, now let's find a way to get out of this theater. Now let's find a way to get my money back. It's frustrating because towards the end of the fight here, I know I got this feeling of, oh god, okay, it's going to be set up for a sequel. There was potential at the very end. There's this great shot where new parachutees, new people, new supplies, new creatures are being delivered. And the two surviving members, they look up at the sky and they see all these parachutes. And it would have been great, it would have been ballsy if they would have looked at each other and just known that now they have to lead these people. It's not about getting off the planet. And that's what we could talk about now. I have this kind of idea for a rewrite of this film. Because it was so predictable, mainly due to the fact that it was cutting and pasting elements from a lot of the first movie, a little bit of Aliens, and some of Predator 2 in terms of ideas, it really didn't try to do anything new. For example, whenever there was a homage to dialogue, I just winced in my chair. There's one moment when Alice Braga's character Isabel is in the pit with Topher Grace. His character is Edwin. And she says, if it comes to that, I'll do us both. Which is a direct ripoff from Aliens, where Hicks says that to Ripley. Then, I can't believe that they had the balls to do this. It's really not having the balls to do it. It's just having the ignorance to do it, because no one can deliver a Schwarzenegger line. That should have been a rule here. Do not take any of Schwarzenegger's lines because they're going to fall flat. They're normal lines, but he takes them to the Schwarzenegger level. So there's literally the moment when he says, Adrian Brody says, kill me, I'm here, do it. And, it was just like, why are you saying these lines? They mean nothing in this movie. Same thing goes for the music. The music, the score of any film is very unique because it reflects the emotions and the overall just tone of the characters and the situation that they're in. So the original Predators film created that score. It can't just be slopped onto this film because the tone of this movie is different. They're on an alien planet. It's different characters. The relationship is different between these characters. In the original, they all knew each other in terms of the commando team. In this one, they're all meeting each other for the first time. Every character's emotions are different here, so there should have been a totally new score. It just feels like it's so forced. All the dialogue that's a reference to other dialogue from the other films needs to be removed because it becomes a memorable line in these other movies because the characters are saying them not trying to create memorable lines. They're saying them because they're fighting for what they want in their own unique way based on the characters that they are, and it's that truth of their delivery that makes it memorable for us. Here, instead of characters delving into their personalities, into their souls, into who they are, into how they see the situation, and what they want from the situation, from the person they're fighting with, they say things knowing that an audience is watching them, which destroys the reality of the moment. There is no audience. There is no camera. They are who they are in this moment. They want something from the other person or creature. Roy should not say, "What the hell are you?" That's from the first movie, and the Predator said that, and it made sense, and it was great. But for this one, it feels forced. The characters are basically just puppets doing what the audience expects of them, and that makes us in the audience bored because we've already seen all that. We want them to surprise us, which is why the Lawrence Fishburne character here is the best part of the film. He's unpredictable. We haven't seen him before. He has a unique personality. He's been through a lot of stuff, which has created this need to talk to an imaginary person, to be paranoid, and to betray all these characters later, to be a scavenger and not willing to team up with other people. His character is the lighthouse of this film in terms of there is a beacon of some creativity that existed here. The rest is all just, again, cutting and pasting of things that the studio and the marketing teams think we want to see when we really just want to see originality. So here is the rewrite. We again open with Adrian Brody falling to the planet, but when he arrives, there's already a team of commandos down there. These people have been there for a while, they survived, and they're bringing him and us because we've latched on to Royce's character as our avatar, right? We're in his mind and we're going along with him through this new environment, and we're going to learn as he learns. So now we're not bored. So this team that's already experienced things, we're following him as he follows them. Lawrence Fishburne's character is in charge of them, and he starts to teach him how to avoid the predators, tells him what's going on. He discovers 2 different variations on the species, how they're fighting with each other. Maybe we visit some predator city, a very small one, because again, this isn't the home planet, it's a game preserve. But why not make it the home planet? Why not make it a preserve within the bigger planet? And maybe this team has been there for a long time, and whenever new recruits come in, they're trying to build their own army, and they're trying to wage war against the predators, and they're trying to escape somehow. Make escape still part of the objective. And again, don't save it for the second film. Let's use it up right here. This way, we feel interested right away, and we're not bored thinking we've seen everything, we know everything. Get that team who knows more than we do to explain to Royce, who again is us, is the ignorant one here, we don't know what's going on. Get them to fill him and us in at the same time, and we are on that journey of discovery and excitement once again. This is where creativity and originality has to come in, because now the world has to be thought through, the society has to be thought through. One great thing I'll say about Avatar, even though it did have its problems, is that James Cameron put a lot of effort into the culture of the Na'vi. So what is the culture of the predators here? All we know is that they have these cool weapons and the ship, and they like to hunt. There's really nothing much more going on with them. Now in Act 2, there could be the objective of trying to get to a ship and escape the planet. And also that might include getting out of the preserve and teaming up with the weaker of the 2 predators, with the dog version against the wolf version. This also kind of has a hint of Planet of the Apes, where there's like a caste system among the apes. So maybe the humans and Royce get involved with that. Again, they team up with the weaker predator, and the predator helps them get to a ship. Make it interesting, make it different. Eventually the predators are going to have to talk. We're going to have to see some subtitles, or maybe they are able to translate into English. Let's have these predators be personified a little bit more. I know that when you take away the silence and you give a cool, interesting, iconic figure like a predator more to say, they could lose that mysticism. They could lose that magnetic pull that they have, much like Hannibal Lecter did from Silence of the Lambs to Hannibal. Once he's talking in every scene, we're not really that interested in him anymore. We like the creature, the person who has some secrets and teases us and makes us want to know more about them instead of telling us their whole life story. Keep it mysterious. But that is where we're stuck at. Where can we go in terms of the Predator's universe? It's been explored enough so far that it has to go to the next level. Or all of our memories need to be wiped out Men in Black style. So take it to that next level, where actually the Dark Horse comic book took it, where there was a human teaming up with a predator in order to fight off the alien. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That line is actually used here, and as a result, Royce explores the predator culture some more, and it all goes towards that final fight to get off the planet. And I would recommend that they try to get off, but of course this is Predator homeworld, so they have a fleet of ships in orbit guarding the planet, and no one's going to get off. So the humans are sent back, and they're stuck in the preserve, and that's where they're going to be for the rest of their lives. They don't fit here on Earth, and they finally found a home, which that dialogue is briefly used in this film to illustrate a theme that is kind of weakly being nurtured. It's a theme that, if it was given a little more water and a little more fertilizer, could really be strong here. Anything like that. It's a super brief overview. I don't want to rewrite the entire film, but I do want to show that if there was a little more risk-taking and creativity put into this idea, it could have really distinguished itself from the previous installments. Instead, it just plays it safe by giving us kind of a greatest hits of Predator and Aliens versus Predator, instead of really taking us somewhere new and possibly alienating the fan base. There's really no progress or evolution unless there is that risk of making people mad. If you play it safe, you're never really going to go forward. It seems like this movie is just kind of following the rules of other remakes and reboots and reimaginings, where familiar images like the Gatling gun, familiar dialogue lines like, "I'm here, kill me, do it now," and familiar music like the score here, pretty much lifted and very moderately modified from its original, make us feel like we're kind of back at home watching this again. It's familiar, and there's really nothing to be worried about in terms of what to expect. And just for me, it's a little unfortunate. I'm sure that when I was 10 years old in the theater watching Predator, and I'm sure there was a 35-year-old movie buff sitting next to me thinking in his head, when I was growing up, there were movies like Magnificent Seven and The Seventh Samurai, and this is just a sci-fi ripoff with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this isn't really original. So it all depends kind of the point of view. Again, this is really just more of an exploration of the movie and just my perspective, so please share your thoughts. Let's have a dialogue. Let's discuss. We're all on the same side. We all love movies, so the more we can talk about them and exchange ideas, the better. That's it for now. Until next time, consider yourselves advised. Remember that StoryCorp always gives us more of what we pay for, so choose your movies wisely. And as always,
long live good movies!